I want to say something right at the start, and I want to say it plainly because I have watched enough videos on this little tablet my granddaughter set up for me to know that most of what older people are being told about their bodies is coming from people who have never lived in one of these bodies. Those you see online, some of them are wonderful, genuinely wonderful human beings, but they are 43 years old. They have never been 80. They have never woken up at 2 in the morning with legs so heavy and so swollen they felt like they were filled with wet concrete. They have never sat on the edge of a bed in a nursing home room at 5 in the morning, alone wondering if that room was going to be the last place they ever called home. They have never felt the specific particular terror of watching their own body become something they no longer recognized, something slow and uncooperative and frightening. I have. I lived every single moment of that. And I am here today, 100 years old, living alone in my own house with my own garden and my own kitchen and my own front porch to tell you what actually worked. Not what the textbooks say, not what the clinical studies say in the abstract, what worked inside a real body in a real life when everything was on the line. So if you are over 60 and your legs feel heavy by mid-afternoon, if they swell by evening, if you feel that bone-deep fatigue that no amount of sitting down seems to fix, if you have been told by someone, even that this is simply what getting older feels like, stay with me because I was told the same thing and I refused to accept it and I was right to refuse. Before I show you the 5 movements that gave me my life back, leave your first name and your age in the comments right now. Just those 2 things. I read every single one and I want to know who I am talking to today. The year I lost everything and how I got it back. I was 79 years old when my daughter found me on the kitchen floor. I had not fallen. I want to be clear about that. I had simply sat down because my legs would not hold me anymore and I could not figure out how to get back up. My legs had been swelling for over a year by then, heavy and thick from the ankle to the knee by the time the afternoon came around. I had been shuffling more than walking. My balance was unreliable, and the fatigue was unlike anything I had ever known, a kind of exhaustion that lived in the legs, specifically a lead and waterlogged weight that no amount of rest could seem to lift. My daughter, God love her, panicked. They used the words I had dreaded my entire adult life: level of care, assisted facility, monitoring, and because I was frightened and because the floor had taken something out of me psychologically that I had not yet recovered, I agreed. I spent 11 months in a nursing home in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm not going to speak badly about the facility. The people who worked there were kind. The food was adequate. I was safe. But I was also disappearing. I could feel it happening. The slow, quiet erosion of the person I had been. When you stop making your own decisions about when to eat and when to sleep and when to have the light on or off, something in you begins to believe that you are no longer capable of making those decisions. And when you believe that, your body starts to follow that belief. I watched other residents decline in that place, not because their bodies gave out, but because their sense of themselves gave out first. I refused to let that happen to me. There was a physical therapist at the facility named Marcus. He was young, maybe 30, and he was the first person in 11 months who talked to me like a capable human being rather than a fragile problem to be managed. He pulled a chair beside my bed one Tuesday morning and he said, "Mrs. Callahan, your legs are weak because they have not been properly challenged. The swelling, the heaviness, the fatigue. Your leg muscles are supposed to act as a second heart, pumping blood back up to your body from your feet. When those muscles stop working, the blood pools. That is what you are feeling. And here is the extraordinary thing. You can fix it right here, right now. Starting with movements so simple you will not believe they are doing anything until you feel the difference." He showed me 5 movements. I did them every day for 4 months. At the end of those 4 months, I walked out of that nursing home on my own 2 legs, and I have not gone back since. That was 21 years ago. These are the 5 movements. Let me show you exactly what he showed me. Exercise 5, seated ankle pumps, starting the second heart. Marcus called this one the ignition. He said, before you can ask your legs to do anything harder, you have to remind them that they are still in the business of moving blood. Sit in a firm chair with your feet flat on the floor. Sit up as tall as you comfortably can, not rigid, just upright. Now slowly lift both heels off the floor, pressing your toes down. and then lower your heels and lift your toes, pressing your heels down. Heel up, toe up, heel up, toe up. Slow and deliberate, like the ticking of a very calm clock. Do this for 2 full minutes. It sounds like the most modest thing in the world, but the Cleveland Clinic has documented that this simple pumping motion activates the soleus muscle, which runs deep in the calf. And that muscle is directly responsible for pushing blood from the lower leg back up toward the heart. When it is not working properly, blood and fluid accumulate in the feet and ankles and calves. That accumulation is the swelling. That pulled fluid under pressure is the heaviness. That starved of circulation tissue is the fatigue. 2 minutes of this 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, begins to restore that circulation in ways that will be visible and feelable within days, not weeks. The mistake most people make, they do it too fast. Bouncing rather than pumping. Slow it down. The slower and more deliberate the movement, the more fully the muscle activates and the more effectively the blood moves. Marcus said to me, "You are not trying to win a race. You are trying to start an engine." I still do this every morning before I stand up from my bed. 100 years old, every single morning, 2 minutes of ankle pumps before my feet touch the floor. It is the first thing my legs do every day, and I believe that matters more than most people realize. Exercise 4, seated knee extensions with a held squeeze. Still in your chair, still completely safe, still giving your cardiovascular system something meaningful to work with. Sit toward the front edge of your chair so your thighs are mostly on the seat, but your knees can bend freely. Slowly extend your right leg until it is straight out in front of you, parallel with the floor. At the top, squeeze the muscles on the top of your thigh, the quadriceps, as firmly as you comfortably can, and hold that squeeze for 5 full seconds. Then slowly lower your foot back to the floor. Repeat on the left side. Alternate for 10 repetitions on each leg. The National Institutes of Health published research showing that quadriceps strength is one of the most reliable predictors of whether an older adult will be able to rise from a chair independently, navigate stairs safely, and maintain gait stability in their 70s, 80s, and beyond. When those muscles weaken, everything downstream weakens with them. Balance becomes unreliable, walking becomes effortful. The fear of falling begins to dictate the size of your world. The held squeeze at the top of the movement is not decoration, it is the most important part. Isometric contraction, holding a muscle fully engaged for several seconds, recruits the deeper muscle fibers that typical movement misses. And those deeper fibers are exactly what atrophies first in the legs of older adults who have been sedentary. The mistake most people make, they lower the leg before the 5-second hold is complete. They rush. Set a count in your mind. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3. And do not release until you have honored the full 5 seconds. Your muscle will tell you when you have. It will talk to you in a language of mild effort that feels completely different from pain, and you will learn to appreciate that language. Marcus had me doing this exercise twice a day. Within the first 2 weeks, I was in his care, and within 6 weeks, I stood up from a dining chair without using my arms to push for the first time in over a year. I want you to understand what that felt like. Standing up independently under your own power after believing that it was gone. There is no supplement in the world that gives you what that moment gives you. Exercise 3, standing calf raises at the counter. Now we move to standing. I want you to stand at your kitchen counter or behind a sturdy chair with both hands resting lightly on the surface for balance. Not gripping, just resting. You are providing yourself with a safety net, not a crutch. Stand with your feet roughly hip-width apart. Slowly rise up onto your toes, lifting both heels as high as they will comfortably go. Hold at the top for 2 seconds. Then slowly, slowly lower your heels back to the floor. That is 1 repetition. Do 15 of them, rest for 30 seconds. Then do 15 more. Harvard Health Research and multiple studies published in the Journal of Applied Physiology have demonstrated that regular calf raises significantly improve venous return, the efficiency with which blood travels from the lower extremities back to the heart, and reduce the fluid accumulation in the legs that causes the swelling and heaviness that so many people in their 70s and 80s accept as simply inevitable. They are not inevitable. They are a symptom of underused muscles, and underused muscles can be rehabilitated at any age. The research is clear on this. Marcus was clear on this, and my own two legs at 100 years old are clear on this. The mistake most people make, they let their heels drop quickly. The lowering phase of this movement, the slow, controlled descent of the heel, is where a significant portion of the benefit lives. Fight gravity on the way down. Take 2 full seconds to lower. Your calves will feel this in a way that the fast version simply does not produce. If rising onto both toes is uncomfortable, start with just raising onto your right toes, tapping the left foot lightly for balance, then switch. One side at a time is completely valid and completely effective. Exercise 4, sit to stand. The most important thing you can practice. Marcus looked me in the eye one morning and said, if you can practice one movement every single day for the rest of your life, let it be this one. Because the day you cannot stand up from a chair on your own is the day you lose your independence. This movement is exactly what it sounds like. You sit in a firm chair, you stand up, you sit back down slowly, with control, with intention, but here is how you do it correctly. Scoot to the front edge of the chair. Place your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, feet slightly behind your knees. Lean your chest forward, what Marcus called the nose over toes position, so your weight shifts naturally over your feet. Then press through your heels and rise. No pushing off with your hands unless you truly need to. At the top, stand fully upright. Squeeze your glutes gently, then slowly lower back down with control until you are seated. 5 repetitions. Rest 5 more. The Mayo Clinic has called this movement the Ceto stand transition, one of the most functional assessments of lower body strength, balance, and independence in older adults. It works the quadriceps, glutes, and core simultaneously. It trains the exact neuromuscular pattern your body uses dozens of times every day. And when practiced regularly, it rebuilds precisely the strength and confidence that makes independent living sustainable. The mistake most people make, they drop into the chair instead of lowering with control. The lowering, the eccentric phase is arguably more beneficial than the rising. Resist the pull downward. Take 3 full seconds to lower yourself back to the seat. Do this 5 to 10 times every morning before you leave the kitchen. Use the kitchen chair. No special equipment, no gym, just you and a chair and the daily practice of getting up under your own power. When I left that nursing home, I could do 3. Today, I do 15 without stopping. The progression is real, and it is available to anyone who shows up for it consistently. Exercise 1, the walking sequence, bringing it all together. The final movement is not one position, but a sequence, a way of moving through the first 10 minutes of your morning that integrates everything above and adds the most powerful ingredient of all, forward motion with intention. Here is how it works. First, do your ankle pumps for 2 minutes seated before you stand. Then, stand up from your chair using the Ceto stand technique. At the counter, do 10 calf raises. Then begin walking slowly, deliberately, with attention to how your foot rolls from heel to toe with each step for at least 5 minutes through your home, down the hallway and back, through the living room, around the kitchen. Not fast, not purposefully slow either, just moving, awake, present. This sequence does something that no single exercise can accomplish alone. It restores the full circulation loop from the ankle pumps that activate the deep calf muscles to the calf raises that reinforce venous return to the sit to stand that fires the larger muscle groups to the walking that ties the entire system together and trains it to function as it was designed to function. Marcus told me, your legs want to work. They have always wanted to work. They just need you to ask them. I have asked mine every morning for 21 years. They have never let me down. The secret gift, the part nobody else is going to tell you. Now, I need to tell you something important, something that took me a long time to understand and that I believe is the single most valuable thing I can share with you today. Everything I just showed you, those 5 movements, that morning sequence, all of it, that is 30% of why I am healthy. I said 30%. Science has now confirmed what I knew in my body long before I ever read a research paper about it. Human illness is 70% mental and 30% physical. 70%. That means the most powerful medicine available to you right now is not in those exercises. It is in your mind, your spirit, your sense of who you are, and whether your life still has meaning. I did not walk out of that nursing home because my legs got stronger. My legs got stronger because I decided with every fiber of my being, with a ferocity that surprised even me, that I was not finished, that I still had things to do and people to love and mornings to wake up in my own home and call my own. That decision came first, the legs followed. This is not motivational language, this is physiology. When the brain believes that the body has purpose, it releases different chemistry, inflammation decreases, immune function improves, pain signals are modulated differently, tissue heals more effectively, sleep deepens. The entire biological orchestra begins playing in a different key when the conductor, which is your belief in the value of your own life, steps up to the podium. So here is what I am asking you to do. And I am asking you as seriously as I have asked anything in this conversation. Be honest with yourself, completely honest. If you are lonely, say so out loud, even if only to yourself. If you are frightened, name the fear. If you have begun to believe somewhere deep and quiet that your best days are behind you and that you are waiting more than you are living, I need you to challenge that belief today, not tomorrow, today. Because that belief is more dangerous to your health than any swollen leg or heavy cough ever was. And then this is the part I feel most strongly about. Find someone to give yourself to. After I returned home from the nursing home, I started a Tuesday morning telephone check-in with 4 other women from my neighborhood who were living alone. Just a phone call, 20 minutes. How are you? What did you eat yesterday? Did you do your exercises? What are you grateful for today? 4 women, 20 minutes every Tuesday. Within 3 months, all 4 of us reported sleeping better, hurting less, and feeling more alert than we had in years. No new medications, no new therapies, just the chemical and neurological effect of feeling responsible for someone else's well-being and of knowing that someone else was holding space for yours. Purpose is not a luxury, it is a biological need. When you feel genuinely needed, not as a burden to be managed, but as a person whose presence in the world makes a concrete, specific difference to another human being, your body responds as though it has received the most powerful medicine in existence, because it has. Find the person in your life right now who needs a phone call. Make it. Find the neighbor who stopped coming outside. Knock on the door. Find the new family at your church who does not know anyone yet. Introduce yourself, bring the casserole, offer the ride, show up to sit with the person who needs to be sat with. You will sleep better that night. I promise you, nurture your faith with the same consistency that you do these exercises. Pray or be still or simply sit quietly for 10 minutes before the day begins and let yourself be honest with God or with whatever name you have for the deepest truth in your life. I have done this every morning for as long as I can remember, and I believe it is the reason I have been able to carry difficulty without being destroyed by it. The patience that keeps you showing up on the mornings when your legs ache and your motivation is low. That patience does not come from willpower, it comes from something quieter and steadier than willpower. Tend it, water it, it will not let you down. My name is Dorothy May Callahan. I am 100 years old. I spent 11 months in a nursing home at 79, and I walked out under my own power, and I have been walking ever since. The on YouTube are wonderful, but they have not been 80. I have been 80 and 90 and now 100, and I am telling you from that place of actual lived experience, your body is more willing than you know. Your spirit is more resilient than you have been given credit for. And your life right now, exactly as it is, still has something significant left to give and to receive. Start with 1 movement tomorrow morning, just 1. Do it the next day too, and the day after. And somewhere in the doing of it, day after ordinary day, you will find something you thought was gone. It was never gone. It was waiting. Tell me in the comments which symptom speaks to your experience the most right now, the heaviness, the swelling, or the fatigue. Just one word is enough. And if this reached something in you today, share it with someone who needs to hear that walking out is still possible. Subscribe because we are not done talking yet.